Have strange pests suddenly appeared in your home? Are you experiencing unexplained illnesses, financial problems, or relationship issues? What if I told you these pests aren't just ordinary invasions, but spiritual messengers warning you of something much darker? Welcome to this revealing video where I'll share ancient secrets about the spiritual meaning behind pest infestations. These aren't just random occurrences. They're warnings that someone might be directing negative energies toward you and your home. Today, I'll reveal the closely guarded knowledge from the grimoire of St. Cyprian, one of history's most powerful occultists, who later converted and exposed the darkest magical practices. As an ex-sorcerer himself, St. Cyprian understood both sides, the harmful spells and their remedies. In his secret manuscripts, St. Cyprian identified 9 specific pests that appear when black magic is directed at a household. These aren't ordinary pest problems, they're spiritual manifestations that require spiritual solutions. What makes this knowledge so powerful is that St. Cyprian didn't just identify the problems, he provided precise remedies to neutralize and reverse these magical attacks. These solutions have been hidden for centuries, passed down only through the most serious practitioners of protective magic. Throughout this video, I'll reveal not only which pests signal witchcraft, but exactly how to perform the protective rituals that St. Cyprian himself developed. These are practical, step-by-step methods that anyone can use to cleanse their home and protect their family. You'll learn to identify the signs, understand their meaning, and most importantly, how to counteract the negative energies they represent. Some of these remedies are surprisingly simple, using ingredients you likely already have in your home. Others require more specific items, but I'll guide you through everything you need. I must warn you, this knowledge is powerful and should be approached with respect. The practices I'll share today have been used for centuries by those seeking protection from spiritual attacks. Stay with me until the very end, as I'll reveal the most dangerous sign of all, one that St. Cyprian himself considered an urgent warning that requires immediate action. Missing this sign could leave you vulnerable to the most serious consequences. Are you ready to discover the hidden spiritual world behind these seemingly ordinary pests? Let's begin with the first messenger, one that many dismiss as just a common household problem, but according to St. Cyprian's grimoire, signals the presence of hidden enemies. When rats suddenly appear in your home, particularly when there was no previous infestation, St. Cyprian's grimoire identifies this as one of the clearest signs of envy-based witchcraft. These creatures aren't just physical pests, they're spiritual manifestations of jealousy and greed directed at your prosperity and abundance. According to the secret manuscripts, rats represent hidden enemies, people who appear friendly but secretly desire to consume what you have built. Just as rats gnaw and destroy, these individuals are working in the shadows to undermine your success, your relationships, and your peace of mind. St. Cyprian noted that a sudden rat infestation often coincides with unexplained financial losses, missing items of value, or business opportunities that mysteriously fall through. This is no coincidence. It's the physical manifestation of someone actively working to diminish your resources. The grimoire documents numerous cases where homeowners experienced rats appearing shortly before discovering betrayal by close associates or family members. In one particularly striking account, a merchant found rats in his storeroom just days before discovering his trusted partner had been stealing from their business for years. What makes this spiritual sign particularly insidious is that most people simply treat it as an ordinary pest problem. They call exterminators and set traps, addressing only the physical manifestation while the spiritual attack continues unabated. This is precisely why St. Cyprian emphasized recognizing the deeper significance. But there is hope. The grimoire provides a powerful ritual of protection specifically designed to counter this form of attack. To perform the Circle of Protection ritual as prescribed by St. Cyprian, You'll need 7 white candles, fresh rue or rosemary if rue is unavailable, and sea salt. Arrange the candles in a circle in the central room of your home. Place a small bundle of rue in the center and create a circle of salt around the entire arrangement. Light the candles one by one, moving clockwise, while reciting, "By the power of light, I banish the shadows. By the strength of salt, I purify this space. By the virtue of rue, I dispel all envy." As these candles burn, all negative intentions are returned to their source. Allow the candles to burn completely. Use caution and never leave burning candles unattended. When complete, collect the salt and scatter it at the 4 corners of your property, saying, "Boundaries protected, enemies rejected." For those who cannot perform the full ritual, St. Cyprian offered an alternative, the water of St. Cyprian. In a glass bottle, combine spring water, a pinch of salt, 3 drops of lavender oil, and 3 small pieces of rue. Seal and place the bottle in sunlight for 3 hours, then sprinkle this water at all entrances to your home, including windows. The grimoire emphasizes that this remedy must be applied for 7 consecutive days to fully break the negative influence that summoned the rats. Many who have followed these instructions report not only the disappearance of the rats, but also unexpected positive turns in their financial situations. But beware, if you've experienced this sign and resolved it, stay vigilant. Because according to St. Cyprian's writings, those who practice dark magic often escalate their attacks when the first signs are neutralized. And the next messengers they may send are even more concerning. Tiny blood-feeding parasites that signal a direct attack on your vital energy. When tiny blood-feeding parasites like bedbugs, fleas, or ticks suddenly invade your home, St. Cyprian's manuscripts reveal a deeply troubling spiritual meaning. These aren't just ordinary pests. They represent a direct attack on your vital energy and life force. According to the ancient grimoire, these particular insects are manifestations of energy-draining spells designed to weaken you at the most fundamental level. Just as these parasites literally feed on blood, the carrier of life, the person targeting you is attempting to drain your spiritual vitality, willpower, and joy. St. Cyprian identified 7 energy centers in the human body, remarkably similar to what Eastern traditions call chakras. He observed that victims of these attacks often experience symptoms corresponding to blockages in these energy centers. Chronic fatigue, unexplained anxiety, difficulty concentrating, diminished willpower, communication problems, emotional numbness, and disconnection from intuition. The grimoire notes that these infestations have a peculiar pattern. They often resist conventional treatments and seem to return no matter how thoroughly the home is cleaned. This persistence is a hallmark of their spiritual nature. Many victims report feeling unusually tired and drained, even after a full night's sleep during these infestations. What makes these pests particularly dangerous is how they weaken your spiritual defenses, making you vulnerable to even stronger magical attacks. St. Cyprian warned that if left unchecked, this energy drain could eventually manifest as physical illness or emotional breakdown. Fortunately, the grimoire provides a powerful cleansing ritual specifically designed to counter this type of attack. The 7 herbs bath, as described by St. Cyprian, requires 7 specific protective herbs: rosemary, basil, rue, lavender, bay leaf, sage, and thyme. If any are unavailable, substitute with mint or lemon balm. Boil a large pot of water and add all 7 herbs. Allow to steep until the water cools enough to use safely. Strain the liquid into a bath of warm water, or if a full bath isn't possible, into a large bowl. For a bath, soak for 20 minutes while visualizing the water drawing out all negative energies. If using a bowl, wash your face, arms and feet with the herbal water. While performing this cleansing, recite Saint Cyprian's prayer of energy restoration. By these 7 sacred plants I cleanse my body, mind, and spirit. Let all that drains me be washed away. Let my vital force be restored and protected. As water flows, so flows my strength, returning to me purified and renewed. This bath should be taken for 3 consecutive days, preferably at sunset. Many who have performed this ritual report not only the disappearance of the insects, but also a remarkable restoration of energy and mental clarity. The grimoire emphasizes that after completing this cleansing, you must strengthen your personal boundaries by wearing something red, a bracelet, necklace, or even underwear, for 7 days to seal your energy field against further intrusion. But now I must warn you about a far more alarming sign. If the following creature appears in or around your home, Saint Cyprian considered it an urgent warning of the most dangerous kind of spiritual attack, one that could threaten not just your well-being, but your very life. Before I reveal this next sign, I must emphasize the gravity of what I'm about to share. According to Saint Cyprian's most guarded writings, the unexpected appearance of snakes in or around your home, particularly in urban areas where they're uncommon, represents one of the most dangerous magical attacks possible. The grimoire dedicates an entire chapter to this ominous sign, describing it as an indication of the most malevolent intention directed with full knowledge and power. Saint Cyprian considered snake manifestations not just a warning, but a direct indicator of death magic, rituals specifically designed to cause severe harm or even death to the target. Unlike other signs we've discussed, snake appearances have a particular characteristic. They often seem impossible or inexplicable. Snakes appearing in sealed apartments, in areas where such species don't naturally occur, or repeatedly returning after removal. These are the hallmarks of magical manifestation rather than natural occurrence. The secret manuscripts document several disturbing cases. One tells of a merchant who found small snakes in his bedroom 3 nights consecutively, despite living on the 10th floor of a city building. Within a week, he fell severely ill with a mysterious wasting disease that baffled physicians. Only after consulting with a practitioner versed in Cyprianic knowledge and performing the counter-ritual did his condition dramatically improve, and investigation revealed a business rival had commissioned a death curse against him. Another account describes a family that discovered a snake in their infant's crib, in the middle of winter, in a region where snakes hibernate. The child had been experiencing inexplicable seizures. After implementing St. Cyprian's protection ritual, they discovered a jealous relative had buried ritual objects at the 4 corners of their property. Why snakes specifically? The grimoire explains that in the darkest practices, snakes symbolize targeted, penetrating harm that strikes at the most vulnerable points. Just as snake venom flows through the bloodstream to attack vital organs, these rituals are designed to infiltrate your spiritual defenses and attack your life force directly. Saint Cyprian considered this sign so serious that he prescribed his most powerful counter-ritual, drawn from the 7th chapter of his grimoire, the Ritual of the Cross of Saint Cyprian. This ritual must be performed precisely as described. First, you'll need to create a protective space. Select the central room of your home. Obtain a white candle, a black candle, holy water, or water blessed with a prayer, sea salt, olive oil, and a piece of paper and pen. Begin at sunrise. Create a circle of salt around the area where you'll work. Place the white candle to the east and the black candle to the west. Light the white candle first, then the black, saying, "Between light and darkness, I stand in balance and power." On the paper, draw a simple cross. At each point of the cross, write the following words in this exact order. At the top, Abrenuntio, I renounce. At the right, retro, behind. At the bottom, maledictum, curse. And at the left, Reditus, return. Place 3 drops of olive oil in the center of the cross while saying, "What was sent against me is now revealed. What was hidden is now seen. What was directed at me is now returned." Fold the paper away from you 3 times. Hold it over the black candle's flame until it catches fire. Use caution. Then immediately place it in a fireproof dish to burn completely. As it burns, say firmly, "By the conversion of Saint Cyprian, who turned from darkness to light, this evil is transformed. By his protection I am shielded. What was sent returns to its origin, not in vengeance, but in justice." Extinguish the black candle first, then the white candle. Take the ashes and the remaining salt and dispose of them at a crossroads or flowing water, away from your home. For 7 days following this ritual, place a small bowl of salt water in each room of your home, replacing it daily at sunrise. The grimoire warns that after performing this ritual, you may experience unusual dreams or temporary discomfort as the negative energy is dislodged, but these symptoms should pass within 3 days. Many who have performed this ritual report not only the disappearance of snakes, but often discover who was targeting them, as the reversal tends to create unmistakable reactions in the sender. But our journey through these warnings continues because St. Cyprian identified yet another sign that's often overlooked, but indicates a spiritual attack aimed at corrupting everything good in your life. When worms or larvae suddenly appear in unusual places in your home, particularly in clean areas, stored food, or near sacred objects, St. Cyprian's grimoire identifies this as a sign of corruption magic aimed at degrading the blessings in your life. According to the ancient manuscripts, these creatures represent attempts to decompose and corrupt what is wholesome and good in your existence. Just as worms break down healthy matter, this type of magic works gradually to deteriorate relationships, health, and opportunities that would otherwise flourish in your life. The grimoire notes a particular pattern to watch for: finding worms in previously untainted food, seeing larvae appear near religious symbols or family photographs, or discovering them in clean bedding. These manifestations often coincide with a gradual decline in your circumstances, relationships becoming strained for no apparent reason, previously reliable income sources becoming unstable, or a general sense that nothing goes right anymore. What makes this form of attack particularly insidious is its subtlety. Rather than causing dramatic negative events, it creates a progressive deterioration that victims often attribute to bad luck or just going through a rough patch. This is precisely why St. Cyprian emphasized recognizing its spiritual origin. The remedy provided in the grimoire is the ritual of consecrated salt, a powerful cleansing practice that arrests spiritual corruption. To perform it correctly, obtain coarse sea salt, not table salt, and 4 white candles. Begin at noon. Place the candles at the 4 cardinal directions in your home. Light them in this order: east, south, west, north. Take the salt in your hands and raise it upward, saying, "Salt of the earth, created pure, I consecrate you as an agent of cleansing and protection." Next, using your finger, draw the ancient protective symbol described in the grimoire, a circle with a vertical line through its center, on each main threshold of your home, using a small amount of the salt. As you create each symbol, say, "No corruption shall pass this boundary. What was pure remains pure." Finally, place small bowls of the remaining salt in the corners of your most used rooms, replacing them every 7 days for 3 cycles, 21 days total. The grimoire emphasizes that this practice creates a barrier against corrupting influences, while gradually restoring what had begun to deteriorate. But now, let me reveal another common pest that, according to St. Cyprian's writings, indicates something particularly troubling about the people in your immediate environment. The sudden appearance of cockroaches in a previously clean home carries a profound spiritual warning, according to St. Cyprian's secret manuscripts. These resilient insects represent something far more troubling than mere uncleanliness. They signal the presence of toxic individuals and malicious gossip actively undermining your reputation and relationships. Saint Cyprian observed that cockroaches, with their ability to survive almost anywhere and their preference for darkness, symbolize the persistent nature of slander and the hidden activities of false friends. The grimoire specifically notes that cockroach infestations often coincide with betrayal by those you trust, campaigns of defamation, or the spreading of damaging secrets. What makes this sign particularly notable is its timing. Cockroaches often appear when you're entering a period of potential success or positive change. This is because, according to the manuscripts, toxic individuals are most motivated to undermine you when they see you advancing. The grimoire documents numerous cases where people notice cockroach infestations shortly before discovering that close associates were sabotaging their efforts or spreading harmful rumors. Even more revealing is the location where the cockroaches first appear. The grimoire states that finding them near communication devices, in modern terms, near phones, computers, or mail, suggests gossip and slander. Finding them in bedrooms suggests betrayal by intimate connections. And finding them near financial documents suggests someone attempting to damage your material security. Saint Cyprian prescribed a two-part remedy for this spiritual attack. First, a protective amulet to shield your reputation, and second, a ritual cleansing to remove toxic influences. To create the key of Saint Cyprian amulet, obtain a small key. An old or unused one works perfectly, 7 inches of red thread and olive oil. On a Tuesday during the waxing moon, hold the key in your hands and say, "As Cyprian held the keys to both darkness and light, I use this key to lock away all slander and falsehood directed against me. Anoint the key with 3 drops of olive oil, then tie the red thread around it, making 7 knots. With each knot repeat, I bind all tongues that speak against me. Truth prevails, lies fail." Carry this key with you for 21 days. Keeping it either in a pocket or bag close to your person. For the cleansing ritual, prepare consecrated vinegar by combining white vinegar with a pinch of salt and 3 drops of holy water, or water over which you've said a blessing. At sunset, sprinkle this mixture in the corners of each room, moving counterclockwise while saying, "As vinegar cuts through grime, let truth cut through falsehood." As vinegar repels, let all toxicity be repelled from this space. Pay particular attention to thresholds, windows, and places where you've seen cockroaches. After completing the circuit of your home, mop your floors with some of the remaining mixture, working from the back of the house toward the front door, symbolically pushing negative energies out. The grimoire promises that performing these rituals will not only help clear the cockroach infestation, but will often bring concealed enemies into the light, revealing who has been working against you. But now I must warn you about another common pest that, according to St. Cyprian, carries a message of imminent danger. When an unusual number of flies suddenly appear in your home, particularly when they gather around specific objects or in unusual patterns, Saint Cyprian's grimoire identifies this as a warning of impending danger or negative events approaching your life. According to the ancient manuscripts, flies, with their attraction to light yet association with decay, represent a spiritual paradox. They are messengers that hover between worlds, drawn to places where negative events are being prepared or directed. Saint Cyprian observed that these insects have a unique spiritual quality. They can sense energetic disturbances before they manifest physically. The grimoire notes that flies appearing in a home often precede accidents, conflicts, or unexpected problems by days or weeks. What distinguishes ordinary seasonal flies from those with spiritual significance is their behavior. Messenger flies often appear suddenly in large numbers, concentrate around certain family members' possessions, or repeatedly return to specific areas despite cleaning efforts. Particularly concerning is when flies gather around photographs, personal items, or legal documents. This may indicate that the danger is directed toward the person associated with these objects or relates to matters represented by the documents. Saint Cyprian considered this sign a merciful warning, a chance to take protective action before the negative event manifests. For this purpose, he provided two powerful protective practices in his manuscripts, a prayer against hidden enemies and a protective fumigation. The prayer against hidden enemies, to be recited for 3 consecutive days at sunrise, facing east. By the light that transformed Cyprian from darkness to wisdom, I uncover all that is hidden from me. Let plots be revealed, dangers be illuminated, and enemies be exposed. As flies seek the light, let truth come to light. What is prepared against me is now known to me and rendered harmless. For the protective fumigation, you'll need dried bay leaves, rosemary, and a pinch of salt. Place these on a fireproof dish and carefully light them, allowing them to smolder. Ensure proper ventilation and fire safety. Carry this smoking mixture to each room of your home, paying special attention to areas where flies have gathered, saying, "By herb and salt and smoke combined, all negative intentions are now defined. What was hidden cannot remain so. What was planned cannot take form. Protection surrounds this home and all within it." The grimoire emphasizes performing this fumigation at sunset, when the boundary between worlds is thinnest, for maximum effectiveness. Many who have performed these rituals report not only the disappearance of the flies, but often the unexpected revelation of problems they were able to address before they became serious. A job loss they were prepared for, a relationship betrayal they could confront, or a health issue caught early. But now we come to one of the most mysterious signs in St. Cyprian's grimoire, one that reveals something deeply troubling about the emotional and spiritual state of your home. The proliferation of spiders in your home, particularly when they appear in unusual numbers, sizes, or locations, carries one of the most complex spiritual meanings in St. Cyprian's grimoire. These 8-legged creatures, according to the ancient manuscripts, reveal the presence of psychic webs, binding spells, and trapped energies affecting your home and its occupants. St. Cyprian's writings contain a remarkable account that parallels many modern experiences. The grimoire describes a nobleman who reported seeing a massive spider-like form in the shadows of his bedroom at night. When he attempted to approach or illuminate it, the figure would vanish. Shortly after these sightings began, the nobleman found himself unable to make decisions, feeling as though his thoughts were tangled and his will bound, classic symptoms of what the grimoire calls mind-binding enchantments. According to the secret manuscripts, spiders represent the tangible manifestation of magical bindings, spells specifically designed to restrict your progress, cloud your judgment, or keep you trapped in negative patterns. Just as spiders weave intricate webs to catch their prey, these energetic bindings are woven to ensnare your will, creativity, and forward momentum. The location of spider concentrations reveals which aspects of your life are being targeted. Spiders in bedrooms suggest bindings affecting relationships or rest. In offices or workspaces, they indicate career or financial bindings. Near doors or windows, they suggest blocked opportunities or restricted movement in life. What makes this sign particularly insidious is how it affects victims psychologically. The grimoire notes that those experiencing this form of magical attack often feel inexplicably depressed, indecisive, or stuck in life, but attribute these feelings to their own failings rather than external influence. This misattribution is actually part of how the binding works, creating a self-reinforcing cycle of limitation. St. Cyprian prescribed his most intricate ritual to break these bindings, the 7 stars of liberation. To perform it correctly, obtain 7 small white candles, olive oil, and a piece of paper. On the paper, draw a 7-pointed star. Instructions: draw a circle, mark 7 equidistant points around it, and connect point 1 to point 3, point 3 to point 5, point 5 to point 7, point 7 to point 2, point 2 to point 4, point 4 to point 6, and point 6 to point 1. Place the candles at each point of the star. Anoint each candle with 3 drops of olive oil, moving clockwise around the star. Light the candles in the same order you anointed them, and as you light each one, recite 1 line of this liberation incantation. First light breaks the outer bindings. Second light severs the strands of confusion. Third light illuminates hidden intentions. Fourth light strengthens my true will. Fifth light clears my path forward. Sixth light returns to sender all restrictions. Seventh light seals my freedom completely. Allow the candles to burn completely with proper fire safety precautions. The grimoire specifies that this ritual should be performed for 7 consecutive nights, preferably beginning on a Monday during the waning moon, representing the diminishing power of the restrictions. After each ritual, it's essential to thoroughly clean your home, paying special attention to corners, dark spaces, and areas where spiders have appeared. St. Cyprian recommended using a mixture of water, salt, and a few drops of lavender, saying, "As I cleanse these physical webs, so too are the ethereal bindings dissolved." Those who have performed this ritual often report extraordinary experiences, sudden clarity about situations that had confused them, unexpected opportunities appearing after long periods of stagnation, and sometimes even direct revelations about who might have been working against them. The grimoire notes that as these bindings are released, you may experience vivid dreams, sudden insights, or even temporary discomfort as you adjust to your restored energy and free will. These are all signs that the ritual is working effectively. But now we must address an even more alarming sign, one that St. Cyprian considered an immediate warning of deliberate and dangerous magical attacks directed at your very life force. The appearance of scorpions in or around your home, especially in regions where they're uncommon or in unusual circumstances, represents one of the most serious spiritual warnings in St. Cyprian's grimoire. These creatures, with their venomous sting and nocturnal nature, indicate what the ancient manuscripts call cemetery magic, destructive spells using graveyard elements specifically designed to cause serious harm. According to the secret texts, scorpions symbolize targeted attacks meant to inject spiritual poison into your life, relationships, and vital energy. Unlike other signs that may represent general negativity or ambient spiritual problems, scorpions suggest a conscious, deliberate magical operation directed at you by someone with knowledge of dark practices. The grimoire notes that these manifestations often coincide with a specific pattern of symptoms, sudden, unexplained health issues that doctors struggle to diagnose, a series of accidents that defy probability, or the abrupt deterioration of previously stable situations. Many victims report unusual sensations of being watched or a persistent feeling of dread that seems to come from outside themselves. St. Cyprian considered this sign so serious that he dedicated substantial space in his manuscripts to identifying the hallmarks of cemetery magic. These include finding strange bundles of herbs tied with black thread, discovering small cloth pouches containing bones, dirt, or pins, or unearthing bottles or jars buried near your home, particularly at the 4 corners of your property or near entrances. The grimoire emphasizes the urgency of counteracting this type of attack, stating that if left unchecked, cemetery magic can cause increasingly severe consequences as it takes deeper root in a victim's life. For this reason, St. Cyprian provided his complete reversal ritual, a powerful countering practice designed to neutralize even the most potent negative workings. To perform the ritual correctly, obtain a white candle, a black candle, consecrated water, water with salt and a blessing, olive oil, and a fireproof container. Begin at midnight, facing east. Light the white candle first, saying, "I stand in the light of truth and protection." Then light the black candle, saying, "I acknowledge the darkness sent against me without fear." Anoint your forehead with a drop of olive oil, saying, "My mind is clear and protected." Anoint your heart area, saying, "My spirit is strong and protected." Anoint your solar plexus, saying, "My will is firm and protected." Next, recite St. Cyprian's reversal prayer. Through the wisdom of Cyprian, who knew both paths, I neutralize all works against me. What was buried is now unearthed. What was hidden is now revealed. What was sent returns to its origin, transformed by light. No longer does this power affect me. No longer does this intention reach me. As Cyprian turned from darkness to light, so too is this darkness transformed. Extinguish the black candle first, then use its smoke to trace a cross in the air before you. Finally, extinguish the white candle, but leave it where it stands until the following sunrise. For the next 9 days, sprinkle a small amount of consecrated water at the thresholds of your home each morning before sunrise, visualizing it creating a barrier that harmful energies cannot cross. Many who have performed this ritual report not only relief from their symptoms, but often dramatic revelations about who was targeting them, as the reversal tends to create unmistakable effects in the sender. But now I must share with you the most mysterious and often misunderstood sign in St. Cyprian's grimoire, one that many dismiss as a good omen, but which the ancient manuscripts identify as a herald of serious illness or major life transitions. The appearance of black or brown butterflies in your home, particularly when they behave unusually, appear repeatedly, or seem to focus attention on specific people, represents one of the most misunderstood omens in St. Cyprian's grimoire. While many cultures view butterflies as positive symbols, the ancient manuscripts specifically identify dark-colored specimens as messengers of illness and significant life transitions. According to the secret texts, these particular butterflies serve as harbingers, advance notice of approaching illness or major life changes that may bring suffering before transformation. Unlike other signs we've discussed that indicate magical attacks, this manifestation often represents a natural but challenging spiritual shift approaching your life or the life of a household member. The grimoire documents numerous historical cases where black butterfly appearances preceded serious illness, with one particularly notable account describing a family that experienced multiple black butterflies entering their home in the weeks before several members fell ill with a mysterious fever. Only those who recognized the warning and performed the protective ritual were spared from the most severe symptoms. What makes this sign particularly cryptic is how easily it can be misinterpreted. Many see butterflies as exclusively positive symbols of transformation, missing the specific warning that St. Cyprian identified in the dark-colored varieties. The manuscripts note that these messengers typically appear during transitional periods like dawn or dusk, often flying in patterns that draw attention to particular people or areas of the home. The grimoire emphasizes paying attention to which family member the butterflies seem most attracted to, as this often indicates who may be most affected by the coming challenges. Similarly, the rooms where they appear most frequently can suggest the nature of the approaching difficulty. Butterflies in bedrooms may suggest health issues, while those in common areas may indicate family-wide changes. For this specific omen, St. Cyprian prescribed the ritual of the protective light, a practice designed not to prevent the coming transition, but to ensure it unfolds with minimal suffering and maximum transformation potential. To perform it correctly, obtain a small bottle of olive oil, fresh rosemary, or dried if fresh is unavailable, and a white candle. On a Sunday at sunrise, place the rosemary and oil in a clear glass container and set it in direct sunlight for at least 3 hours. At sunset of the same day, strain the oil into a clean bottle and recite over it the blessing of the 4 elements. by air that brings clarity, by fire that brings transformation, by water that brings healing, by earth that brings strength. I consecrate this oil as protection against suffering and as aid in transition. Light the white candle and place 3 drops of the oil on your dominant palm. Rub your palms together until they feel warm, then pass them over your face, heart and solar plexus, saying, "What must come, will come. But I meet it with strength, wisdom and protection. The darkness of the butterfly wings brings not fear, but awareness. I am prepared, I am protected, I am guided through all transitions." In bedroom, for the next 7 days, place a drop of this oil on the threshold of your bedroom before sleeping, creating a barrier that allows transformative energies to enter but filters out unnecessary suffering. The grimoire notes that those who perform this ritual often report that while challenging situations still arrive, they experience unusual clarity and resilience in facing them. Many describe receiving important insights through dreams during the 7-day period that help them navigate the coming changes. St. Cyprian's manuscripts emphasize that this ritual doesn't prevent the inevitable transitions that the butterflies announce. Rather, it ensures you move through them with greater awareness and less fear, extracting the growth and wisdom they contain without being overwhelmed by their challenging aspects. Now that we've explored all 9 signs, let me share St. Cyprian's final wisdom about discernment and protection in a world where both natural and supernatural forces interact with our daily lives. As we conclude this journey through St. Cyprian's secret knowledge of spiritual signs and protections, it's essential to remember his most important teaching: discernment. According to the grimoire, not every pest infestation indicates witchcraft, just as not every challenge in life stems from magical attack. St. Cyprian emphasized the balance between awareness and fear. The purpose of recognizing these signs isn't to see enemies everywhere or to live in paranoia, but rather to develop spiritual awareness that allows you to address problems at their true source, whether mundane or magical. The ancient manuscripts provide a simple discernment practice to help distinguish ordinary pest problems from those with spiritual significance. When you encounter any of the 9 signs we've discussed, observe them for these characteristics: unusual timing or circumstances of appearance, resistance to normal remedies or treatments, correlation with unexplained personal difficulties, patterns that seem directed or intentional rather than random. If multiple characteristics are present, the grimoire suggests proceeding with the spiritual remedies we've discussed. If not, conventional approaches may be sufficient. For ongoing protection, St. Cyprian provided a general shield prayer to be recited weekly, preferably on Sunday morning. I share it with you now as a gift of protection. I stand in the light of wisdom and truth. As Cyprian found protection in his conversion, so do I find protection in awareness. I recognize the visible and invisible forces that surround me. I discern between natural challenges and unnatural interference. My home is a sanctuary of peace and positive energy. My body is a temple of strength and clarity. My spirit is connected to divine protection. What is mine remains mine. What is harmful cannot reach me. In knowledge there is power. In awareness there is safety. I am protected. I am discerning. I am at peace. After reciting this prayer, the grimoire recommends taking 3 deep breaths while visualizing a sphere of golden light expanding from your heart to surround your entire home and all who dwell within it. Remember that Saint Cyprian, once a practitioner of harmful magic himself, converted and dedicated his life to protection and the sharing of knowledge. His journey reminds us that transformation is always possible, that darkness can be turned to light, and that knowledge itself is neither good nor evil, only its application determines its nature. I encourage you to approach these teachings with respect, using them for protection rather than retribution. The grimoire emphasizes that the highest form of spiritual self-defense is not attacking others, but establishing such strong boundaries and clear energy that negative influences simply cannot penetrate your space. Saint Cyprian's final teaching in the manuscripts addresses the question of prevention. Rather than waiting for signs of spiritual attack to appear, he recommended creating a home environment that naturally repels negative energies. Simple practices like regular cleansing with salt water, maintaining fresh air flow, introducing protective plants like rosemary and basil, and being mindful about who you allow into your personal space can significantly reduce your vulnerability. The true power of these ancient teachings lies not in fear, but in empowerment, knowing that you possess the knowledge and tools to protect yourself and your loved ones from both seen and unseen influences. As Saint Cyprian wrote in the final pages of his grimoire, the greatest protection is living in truth and light, for darkness cannot exist where light shines brightly. May these secrets of Saint Cyprian serve you well in your journey towards spiritual protection and awareness. May your home be cleansed of all negative influences, your path be clear of spiritual obstacles, and your life filled with the peace that comes from true spiritual security. And remember, should you ever encounter any of these 9 signs, you now possess the ancient wisdom to understand their meaning and the sacred practices to restore harmony and protection to your life. May Saint Cyprian, who knew both the shadows and the light, guide and protect your path forward.